guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Na Odalukushi Adoma, and today we are going to talk about myths about mental health. But before we go into it, I'd like to state clearly that this does not constitute psychiatric or psychological advice. Kindly seek help from a professional when in dilemma. What have you heard about mental health conditions and the people that suffer from it? Myths are usually stories that are told from generation to generation, and sometimes they could be false. Today we will talk about some of the myths that exist out there about mental health conditions. We will tell you which ones to hold on to and which ones to discard. So let's get right into it. The first myth we want to talk about is the perception that people think they cannot get mental health conditions. Like, I am invincible, I cannot be affected by mental health conditions. Well, I understand where this one would be coming from. You want to wish mental health illnesses or diseases on yourself or your loved ones. Although I know a few people that prey it on their enemies, so I will not add enemies. Yes. But then, the statistics out there will shock you. It is way closer to you than you would think. Unfortunately, I couldn't lay my hands on Ghanaian statistics, but in the US, 1 out of every 5 adults live with some kind of mental health condition. 1 out of every 10 young person has suffered some form of major depression. And 1 out of every 25 has serious debilitating mental health conditions such as schizophrenia or bipolar. Just think about it. 1 out of 5 around you has mental health condition. It is way closer than you would think. We classify mental health as, the tag mad. So unless the person is having the very severe ones, we don't classify them. But trust me, you could be suffering from one and not know it. The point is not to tell you have mental health conditions, but to show affection and consideration for the people around you. Because mental health is closer to you than you think. And also you take care to protect yourself, because it can happen to you. Keep well, protect yourself, take care of yourself, do whatever you need to do to keep yourself. Do not think you're above this. It happens way more often than you would think. Myth number 2. The second one is the fact that people say people with mental health conditions are lazy, they are weak, or they are making excuses. I've recently seen a post from an acquaintance of mine that says that the youth of today are blaming everything on mental health, and then they are using it as an excuse to get around the things they don't want to do. But the truth is this: mental health conditions are real. It has nothing to do with weakness. It has nothing to do with excuses. It has nothing to do with laziness. People with mental health conditions are suffering from real conditions. It's as much a condition as hypertension or diabetes. The only thing is nobody talks about mental health. At least if you eat sugar, you would probably get it. And if you avoid sugar, you lower your chances. And when you eliminate salt, you reduce the chances of hypertension. But then what do you know about mental health? Do you know what to do to reduce your chances? Do you know what to do to avoid it? Do you know the precautions to take with it? Do you know how to handle yourself? Do you know where to go? That is the thing. That is the difference. That people with mental health situations are more disadvantaged because they don't have information. But in terms of sicknesses and diseases, it is just as good or as bad as hypertension or diabetes. The only thing that is there is that there is no management. Methods of management are poor, and that is the only thing. It is not an excuse. It is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is a disease. It is a real disease that, when managed well with medication and care, most times the sufferers recover completely. I know a lot of people. In fact, most of the people in my story and my lifetime are people that have recovered completely, and then they function well in society because they got care and help. Mental health sufferers are not liars. They are not weaklings. They are not lazy people, and they are not making excuses. Think about it this way: it's a disease as much as hypertension and diabetes. Okay, so the third one. The third one is the one that says that mental health people sufferers are violent and unpredictable. I know this hits a little bit close because when I'm on the road and I see the people who tag us mad, the people that are on the street, I'm very, very careful because I've had that notion in my head several times that they would attack you or they would do something to you. But I have passed by them too many times. We all know how many of such people we have on our roads and then how close we come to them. How many times have you been attacked by a mad person? I'm just using the tag for the sake of clarification. Or you've heard that they've attacked somebody violently. Well, they are not any more violent than your normal person. They could be violent, but just as a normal in quotes, this topics are sensitive. Normal in quotes would also be violent. Just think about all this armed robbery, street fights, domestic violence, rape. Most of these people are the people we call sane, but yet still they are the one that puts up the worst case of violence in our societies. So mental health people, they are not violent people. They are not violent as of because they are mentally ill, they are violent. That is a myth. It is not true. If you aggravate somebody and you trigger them and you want to tie them down, they'll fight back. So if you want to use those kind of circumstances to call them violent, just think about it. They are no more violent than the people around you. How many times have you been attacked? How many times have you heard other people being attacked? They can be violent. They can be violent because they are human beings and then they would react. Some people have even had anger problems for long. I'm not saying they are not violent, but they are not violent because they have mental health diseases. They are violent just as any other person could be. Please take it out of your mind. Mental health sufferers are not violent people. So go to the fourth one. We've done three so far. The fourth one is that they cannot hold jobs. This is sad because most people get fired from their jobs at the first sign of mental health sickness. Some simple things as anxiety disorders have gotten people kept out of their jobs. But I have known people that have suffered from mental health diseases and they function as good as can be. I'm telling you, all the people in my story have recovered fully and they are holding down jobs. I know somebody who has kept a regular job for 30 years despite suffering from mental health conditions that the person has to be on medication for all the time. One of the very popular faces of bipolar we have here in Ghana is on TV. I'm just not going to use names because I've not asked for a permission. But she's on TV and we see her and you can see with medication and care, they function well. What is important is that employers would give good health care to their employees. If the hypertensive person is getting enough medication and is fit, the person comes to work and performs very well. If the diabetic gets the insulin or the pills they need, they perform very well. If the schizophrenic gets the medication they need, they'll perform very well. If the person with bipolar gets all the medication they need, they'll perform well. So employers should just provide good health care for their employees so everybody gets an equal opportunity to function. What is important is care and medication. And it is not true that they cannot hold down a job. I have seen way too many of them do excellently well after suffering episodes. And then to my very, very last point, and I used to believe that there is nothing we can do to help with mental health conditions, that as an individual, there is nothing I can do. Well, this is false. This is false because there is so much you can do. When it comes to mental health situations, there are two main cases. There is a case of personal responsibility. That is, you try to avoid or minimize your personal chance of getting mental health problems. There are few ways that these things come to us. We have the family genetics. There's nothing much you can do about that. You just have to educate yourself on it and get the right medication and the help. Know where to go in times of crisis. The second one would be getting a physical injury. Somebody gets into an accident and then some part of their brain malfunction. Somebody grows up normally and then at one point there's no trigger, there's no issue. The brain chemicals just mix up and then I'm sure the words I'm using are not fair, but I don't have better words. But the brain chemicals malfunction, and then they just get out of the way. Those ones, they are inevitable. It's medication and care. That is the best way to go about it. But the one we can help with is avoiding traumatic situations. Not to put the responsibility on the person who has suffered the trauma, but the people that give people trauma. Do not rape people. Do not abuse people. Do not hit people. Do not cause the people around you pain and suffering, because it doesn't end there. And this is how we, our generation, can eliminate most of these things. If we eliminate the traumatic part of it, that would be a huge percentage of childhood traumas that leads to mental health conditions in the future are eliminated. And then also we can support. There is a lot you can do in terms of support. When there is somebody around you that is suffering from mental health conditions, you would need to understand them. You need to reach out to them and know that, and let them know you understand them and you'll be there for them. Support is everything. A lot of people do well with medication, therapy, and support. Support is your family and friends showing up for you, not making you feel alone. Because feeling alone is a whole situation, it's a whole mental health crisis for somebody. So with the support and help, a lot of these things will be eliminated. These are my 5 points, and then I'll run through them again. The first one is that you are not invincible. Don't think you are invincible or mental health conditions cannot affect you. They can. We don't want them to affect you, but they can. And just because you know that you are not invincible, just have some empathy and sympathy for the people around you. The second one is that mental health sufferers are making excuses, they are weaklings, or they are lazy. Well, this is not true. It is a health condition, it's a sickness, it's a disease, just as any other one you know. Diabetes and hypertension are the ones I'm using for examples today. But they are diseases just as those ones, and they require care and help to get over. And they can recover 100% with medication and care. Not in all situations, but with medication and care, most mental health sufferers get over their disease and recover completely. The third point is that they are unpredictable and then violent. That is not true. I think I gave good examples about how the people we call sane met out a lot more violence than the people we call insane or mad. Mental health sufferers do not cause any more violence than normal people would. I guess I'm going to use a lot of quotation marks. And then the fourth one is that they cannot hold down a job. Simply, I have known somebody who has held down a job effectively, not just holding place, but doing their job effectively, gaining promotion along the way for 30 years, despite being on medication for mental health conditions. And then the fifth one is that there's a lot you can do to help. Don't think you can't help. Don't think you can't contribute. There's a lot you can do to, just for starters, avoid causing somebody else trauma. Don't be responsible for the next person's trauma. And then give support. Give support to the sufferers around you. If there's somebody around you that is suffering, just give as much support as you can. That is what they will need from you the most. Those are the two things you can contribute. And when you suffer it, or you know somebody that suffer it, you help them to get medical care, therapy, whatever they need. See a doctor, and then just be there for them. Those are the things we can do to support mental health. So yes, all the 5 myths that we've mentioned are false. They are all false, and there is a lot more that we can learn. So we upload videos each and every Wednesday. So like and subscribe to my channel so you receive notifications when I upload new videos. It will also tell me that you enjoy what I put up and it's beneficial to you, so I can do more. Yes. So yeah, that would be for today, and then bye bye and see you soon.